The hidden hand of power, Mario Draghi, Ursula von der Leyen, and the Cabal's globalist agenda. In the complex web of global politics, certain leaders stand out not merely as public servants, but as representatives of hidden interests with broader and more ominous agendas. Leaders like Mario Draghi, Ursula von der Leyen, and Boris Johnson are increasingly perceived as acting openly in the service of an elite cabal that thrives on global chaos and conflict. The alleged goals of this shadowy network are to perpetuate wars, sell arms, and create instability, all while advancing a globalist agenda that undermines national sovereignty and economic stability. This essay explores the roles of Draghi, von der Leyen, and Johnson as representatives of these interests, and why their actions present a significant threat to Europe and the world. Mario Draghi, the servant of an elite cabal. Mario Draghi, former president of the European Central Bank and Prime Minister of Italy, has often been depicted as a figure who acts not for the benefit of the people he serves, but rather as a servant of an elite cabal. His policies seem to follow a predictable pattern, marked by a drive to divert European taxpayers' money into the coffers of the military-industrial complex. This complex is said to be controlled by powerful financial dynasties, such as the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, who operate from behind the facades of banks and other financial institutions. Draghi's tenure has been characterized by his strong advocacy for economic austerity measures and support for financial bailouts that benefit large corporations and financial institutions. Critics argue that these policies have exacerbated economic inequality and undermined social welfare in Italy and across Europe. Draghi's unwavering support for the transfer of public funds to private entities raises significant concerns about his motivations and the forces guiding his decisions. By channeling taxpayer money toward the military sector, Draghi appears to be aligning himself with an agenda that prioritizes profit for a few over the welfare of many. Ursula von der Leyen, a collaborator in a common cause. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, has also been linked to these same interests. Her leadership has seen a push for increased defense spending and a strengthening of ties with the military sector. Her actions are perceived by some as part of a broader strategy to create dependency on the military-industrial complex, further entrenching the power of financial oligarchs. Von der Leyen's role in promoting policies that could lead to greater militarization within the EU aligns with Draghi's actions, suggesting a coordinated effort to serve the same hidden masters. Von der Leyen's background as Germany's former defense minister provides further context for her involvement. Her tenure in that role was marked by controversies, including allegations of mismanagement and favoritism in awarding defense contracts. This history raises questions about her commitment to transparency and public accountability, especially in the context of her current efforts to expand the EU's military capabilities. Boris Johnson, the intervener who stopped peace. Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, represents another key figure allegedly acting on behalf of this cabal. His role became particularly evident during the conflict in Ukraine, where he reportedly intervened to prevent a potential peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. In 2022, Ukraine and Russia were reportedly close to negotiating a peace agreement during talks in Istanbul. However, Johnson, acting under instructions from the cabal, is said to have flown to Kyiv to discourage Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky from signing any agreement. Johnson's actions, according to critics, served to prolong the conflict, ensuring that the military-industrial complex would continue to profit from arms sales and the perpetuation of chaos in Eastern Europe. This intervention aligns with the broader pattern of behavior exhibited by Draghi and von der Leyen, suggesting a coordinated effort by various leaders to prevent peace and maintain a state of perpetual conflict. Johnson's alleged instructions from the cabal to obstruct peace efforts underline the extent to which these global actors are willing to manipulate events to serve their own ends, regardless of the human cost. The war in Ukraine, a manufactured conflict? The recent conflict in Ukraine serves as a stark example of how this alleged cabal might operate. The war has provided a pretext for massive arms sales, increased defense spending, and significant shifts in geopolitical power dynamics. Some argue that the war was not an organic conflict, but rather a manufactured event, instigated by this cabal to serve its interests. According to this view, The Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and other elites have manipulated the US and the UK as proxies, using their influence over Western leaders to provoke a confrontation with Russia. Draghi, von der Leyen, and Johnson's roles in this context are seen as enabling this strategy. Their support for sanctions, military aid, and policies that escalate tensions with Russia has aligned with the goals of those who stand to benefit from continued conflict. The economic consequences of these policies, including rising energy prices, inflation, and economic uncertainty, are borne by ordinary European citizens, while the elites purportedly behind the scenes reap the rewards. The globalist agenda: chaos as a means to control. At the heart of this critique is the idea that the cabal's ultimate goal is a globalist agenda that seeks to centralize power and undermine national sovereignty. War, chaos, and economic instability are seen as tools to achieve this end. By fostering dependency on military spending and financial institutions, and by manipulating geopolitical conflicts, the cabal allegedly aims to create a world where governments are beholden to their interests rather than accountable to their citizens. This agenda is further advanced through economic policies that favor deregulation, privatization, and austerity. Such measures strip countries of their ability to govern themselves, pushing them toward greater dependence on international financial institutions and corporations. Leaders like Draghi, von der Leyen, and Johnson, who advocate for these policies, are viewed as facilitators of this broader scheme, acting under the guise of public service while actually serving private interests. The call for accountability. Given these concerns, there is a growing call for accountability. Draghi, von der Leyen, Johnson, and others like them should be thoroughly investigated for their connections to these elite interests and their potential involvement in what some see as criminal activities. If found to be acting against the public good, they should be held accountable through legal channels. The Rothschilds and other financial elites alleged to be behind these activities should also face scrutiny. If they have indeed played a role in fomenting conflict for profit, they should be compelled to bear the costs of the wars they have instigated. A more transparent and accountable system is necessary to prevent such abuses of power from continuing unchecked. Conclusion: leaders such as Mario Draghi, Ursula von der Leyen, and Boris Johnson appear to act as representatives of a cabal that benefits from war, chaos, and the erosion of national sovereignty. Their actions suggest a commitment not to public service, but to a hidden agenda that serves powerful financial interests. As the world faces mounting challenges, it is crucial to expose and challenge these hidden networks of power. Only through transparency, accountability, and public scrutiny can we hope to reclaim governance for the people and ensure a more just and peaceful future.